There we go. I've got that on now. All right, so I'm going to switch down to my camera and I'm going to get started. So we are going to make a clean and simple Father's Day card. And really, you can do this with any stamps, inks, whatever you have at home. You do need a Father's Day sentiment, which there's not a ton of. But the Trusty Tools has a nice one. Hi, Sherry. That has Happy Father's Day. So we're going to use that. But not every dad is a handyman kind of dad. Not every dad uses tools. So I do have one to show you that uses the tools. I'll show that to you at the end. But we're going to do one that doesn't use tools. I'm going to put a tree on it. I need to poke out another little piece here. We're going to put these trees on it, but I was looking through my other dies, and you could put a lobster, you could put a crab, you could put a seashell, you could put just a leaf, something like this on it, anything you have in a die. The fun part is how we're going to make the part that you're going to decorate a little bit. So I'm going to start with a piece of just regular basic white. This is 5¼ by 4. And I have an H block. And if you don't have this size block, well, my block is dirty. So sometimes I clean my blocks with the Stampin' Mist, the same stuff you put on your scrubby. And then I just wipe them with a microfiber cloth. And this, your block will get a little inky on this technique, but that's okay. You can also just wash it in the sink with soap and water. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 markers. Now this does not work with the blends. It does not work with the alcohol markers that are big and fat. We're going to use the brush tip of the markers. So these markers have a skinny line at one end and a fat line at the other. The skinny line has the bullet tip, which is good for writing. And then the fatter line has the brush tip, which is good for coloring. So I'm going to color right on this block. So this first color is Early Espresso. Then I'm going to do some Misty Moonlight. And I'm kind of going in thirds. And then I'm going to do some Pool Party, which is going to be a little bit harder to see on the block, but it's still going to be there. I didn't think of how hard it would be to see it. Okay. And now I'm going to take my little spritzer. We sell these, I think, for $3 or $4. You can get 2 of these. And I'm going to spritz right on the block, but I don't want to get my papers wet. So I'm going to move those out of the way. So, well, but then I want to put it down on this. So I do need to have that handy. So I'm going to spritz. I'm going to let it get a little wet, and then I'm going to turn this right over. And I did splatter on my piece of paper with the water, so we'll see what happens. And I may have more brown than I want. And I just dabbed up a little extra water. But you can see that I did get some overspray a little bit. Can you see those flecks? But that's okay. I'm going to hit it real quick with the heat gun. And I love the background that pressing that ink onto the paper from the block makes. I like when that ink uh, runs together a little bit and you get a little bit of a bloom. Okay. So we're just going to dry that up a little bit. Now I'm going to run this through the mini corrugated embossing folder. And I thought it was called mini because it was going to be a narrow one, but it's actually mini because the lines are pretty close together. So I'm going to put this in and I'm going to line it up with this line at the bottom. But sometimes this folder cracks when I put it through the embossing machine. Maybe mine is tight, so I'm going to spritz it a couple of times, but I'm going to hold it away from the rest of my supplies. So I just spritzed it on the back a couple of times, and now I'm going to run this through my cut and emboss machine. And we'll have that nice texture on it. And it won't crack because I got it a little bit wet. I am going to try to dry it off again. I love the texture of an embossing folder, and maybe it's not technically clean and simple when you use an embossing folder, but I think it's still pretty clean and simple card. Okay, so there is our card, and we're going to put that on a Misty Moonlight base. That's one of the colors that we used. We used Early Espresso, Misty Moonlight, and Pool Party. I'm going to put that on right there. Okay, and now we're going to stamp our Happy Father's Day. And I love this stamp from the Trusty Tools because it's nice and bold. Hi, Carol. Thanks for joining us. And it stamps a nice solid image. Sometimes when you pick up your photopolymer stamps and you put them on a block, you can get them a little bit wavy or a little bit out of shape. So if you just lay it on your glass mat or a piece of paper, nice and flat, you can then just pick it up and it will be the perfect shape, the shape it was meant to be. So now I'm going to use Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to stamp that on a piece of Misty Moonlight. This is a scrap that I had, and I don't really know what size it was. I guess it is about 2 3/4 inches long, and I'm going to make it a little bit narrower. I'm going to take a little bit off right there. Maybe, I don't know if that 1/2 inch will work. Yeah, I think a 1/2 inch will be perfect. There we go. And I'm wondering if I need a little something else under here. A little piece of DSP, or I think I saw a scrap of Pool Party over here. Maybe I'll put just another piece of Pool Party underneath it. That Pool Party's kind of getting lost. I'll stagger them a little bit. Yeah, I think we'll do something like that. I could try to color some Pool Party on there or blend some Pool Party on there, but I think we'll lose the watercolor look if I do that. Can you see that Happy Father's Day? It almost looks kind of black, but it is Early Espresso on there. So let's glue these two together. And then I think we'll pop them up on my card. That is not, oh, not straight, and then I moved it too much. That's pretty good. And I have all kinds of little, the edges of mini dimensionals. I think these are from a kit, but you never waste a dimensional. Always use those up. Whoops, that's too long. And I think I will need that other piece up along this edge. Ah, I'm having trouble getting the backing off, or the release paper. There we go. I could use my take your pick tool, but that would be too easy. Okay, so there's the Happy Father's Day. And then we're going to put some trees on. I cut the trees out in 2 different colors. I cut them out in Pretty Peacock, and I cut them out in Misty Moonlight. And I can tell you already, I like the Misty Moonlight. And I think I'm going to try to do surgery right here. Do you think I can cut this out? Look at that. Make it a little bit shorter. How's that for surgery, huh? Not bad. And then we can just pop this up right next to that, or maybe down a little bit. Let's get some real mini dimensionals. You like the Misty Moonlight too, Sherry? I think I like anything in Misty Moonlight. I love, it's probably my favorite blue in all of the papers and inks that we have. Okay, let's just get a couple more of these on. I don't like it when they sag or flop. Okay. And so we can put this, I think we'll go underneath, right like that. So a clean and simple Happy Father's Day card. I do think I still need to put a little bit of bling on it. Something not too shiny. Let's see what I can come up with. I have stuff all over the place here. So I do have some adhesive back textured dots. I think that's what I'm going to use. I lose track with the embellishments. I'm sorry, as to what is still available and what isn't, because they come and they go so quickly. I think I'll put that one up there. So I apologize if those are retired, but there's the front of our card. Happy Father's Day. And then on the inside, I'm going to use another sentiment from the Trusty Tools. I'm going to use "You're the most awesome." Isn't that a nice thing to say about whoever you're giving your Father's Day card to? Yeah. Could be a son that's a father, could be your father, your husband, um, stepfather. There's lots of men in our lives that we could wish a happy Father's Day to. I don't believe it has to be limited to your own father. You're the most awesome. And oh, I forgot to tell you, the tree comes from this Scenic Adventure set, which is a new online exclusive. So I think I'll put a little tree down here on the bottom, and I can do it in Misty Moonlight, or I can do it in no, all I have over here for ink is early espresso. So guess what? We are going to use early espresso. And then after we put this together, I'll show you the other card that I made with a similar layout. But really, you just need one thing you can either fussy cut or die cut to put on there next to the sentiment. And there's a nice, oh, I love that tree. Nice tree right there. All right, so let's put this on. And now I have a couple of Father's Day cards ready to go. So there's one, and then here's another one that I did with the blocks. And this one I colored with Early Espresso, Pretty Peacock, and Lost Lagoon. And that's the look you get in the middle there if there's not quite enough water to make that ink spread out when it hits the paper. On this one, I did put a small bow and a hammer. But like I said, I think we need some options for dads that might not be the handyman type. So here are two clean and simple cards, and you can make that little background with any block. I like this H block because it spreads right across the whole front, but you could do it smaller, you could do it in a diamond shape, you can do it any shape you want with your markers. Just color on the block and then spritz it. And if you do make one, I would love it if you would drop a picture in the comments on this video or on the Chat and Craft Creations page, so that we can be inspired by what you make also. All right. So have a great rest of your Wednesday night, I believe it is. And I will be back maybe on Sunday, maybe on Saturday. I'll be back. All right. And if I can help you make cards, please let me know. Have a great night. Bye bye.